What's going on, everybody? TheKennyDubz here with another Mega Man X Dive character overview video. This time we're going to be taking a look at Festive Zero as he drops soon in the global version of X Dive. Alright, and here we're taking a look at Festive Zero. I do like how for his highlight intro, this stops whatever music that's playing and plays the music for his highlight intro. That's pretty neat. I like the black, I guess I could call these accents on Zero's armor. That's pretty cool. Anyway, let's take a look at the skills. Skill 1 is something I'm probably going to mispronounce, but Hyoryoshu? I probably said that wrong, but converts energy into frost upward spiraling attack, causing 150% attack damage, and damages enemies along the path and causing slow. That kind of reminds me of Frost Walrus's skill. I don't remember if that's the same name as Frost Walrus's skill from X4. I know Frost Walrus' skill was going downwards, though. But for the modifier chips, we have a preventive shield. Gain a preventive shield when you use skill to protect you from most negative status effects. Again, I say most because things now, due to power creep, pierce preventive shield is kind of like ignore it. So that's where I say most, and I would really prefer it if they had changed that to at least say most or reflect that, but that's just like a minor thing. This one actually I like a lot. Armor protection. When activating a skill, you get a defense enhancement stats, which decreases the damage received by 50%. Like I said, I really like this one. That's a fat defense bonus there. And then here you have restriction off. When hitting an opponent, there is a chance to use this skill again. I don't think you use this one all that much. If you're opting to use it for PvP or PvE, I think you use one of these two. Probably, maybe this one. I like this one the most, but in the current state of at least global PvP, we have Zero Nightmare, and he got his DNA very, very early, and a lot of people are still utilizing Grudge Axe, so they'll just yoink your buffs from you. Though I don't think this, I'm not sure how long this buff actually lasts here. Okay, this buff lasts for 3 seconds. So you probably, I don't know, I think you might still run this if you were to use Festive Zero in PvP. I don't think he's that great for PvP, but I think you would run this, or maybe even this. This is quite good. Even if your buff will get removed, you will, like, it'll be useful when it's there, kind of thing. Same kind of goes for this, because this could also just get removed, really. Because Preventive Shield is a positive status effect, so this should get removed by Grudge Axe as well, and Scourge, I believe. And then for skill 2, we have Suenbu. Launch fan to deal 120% attack damage to all targets in its path. Once the fan penetrates a target, its damage will be reduced to 25% and will return to your location after traveling a specific distance. It can go through landscapes and barriers. This says reduce to 25%, not by 25%. So rather than 120% attack damage, this will be the 30% afterwards. So that's a huge drop off in damage there. We have penetration. So the damage will be increased by 40% after penetrating a target there. So that'll be what, like 30-ish? No, 40%. So it'll be back to 25%. Yeah, no, I think that's that'll be around 30-ish%. Definitely upwards of 30. Maybe around 40 or so. I'm not actually doing the math, man. I'm just doing. So we have ammunition expansion, increases the number of shots by 1, which is very, very nice. That just means you get more shots of this, which is great. And then this one increases damage by 15%, but renders the skill incapable of penetrating a target. I'm not sure if you would use this one either, to be honest. I think this is the best one that you would use here. Even in like a PvE scenario, like this could be good, but I think you use the ammunition expansion. This seems like the best option here for this. And for PvP, I think you would want to use the ammunition expansion as well. For the passive skills, we have reducing the prep time of skill 1 by 20%. That's great. Always nice to have one of those in there. Savage Pursuit becomes activated after using Suenbu, increase movement speed by roughly 28%. So that's great as well. Not as good as Black Zero Savage Pursuit, but Savage Pursuit it's still pretty good here as well. Melee Master increases damage by 20% when equipping a melee weapon, so melee focused unit here as well, much like with the other Zero. Well, base Zero and Black Zero. We have Target Lock. Locks onto a target that has been hit by Suenbu. When the target is hit again by Suenbu, the attack will deal an additional 72% damage. So I think this kind of reinforces that you actually want to have ammunition expansion. Just because the damage will be increased by such a large amount after you lock onto it. I'm not sure if this would apply to the return attack though, after it's pierced something. That I'm not sure on. Reading it, I think that makes sense to me that it would work that way. But if it doesn't, I mean, I guess that also kind of makes that makes a lot less sense if it doesn't work that way to me, to be honest. Then we have Peak of Fervor, or Fervor, yeah. When HP is below 50%, increased damage done by 20%, and boost the effect of Savage Pursuit by 30%. So when you're below 50% damage, you deal 20% more damage, which is nice, I guess. But needing to be below 50% for that, it's kind of that's kind of iffy there, especially because how I mentioned earlier, while this fat defense boost I think is meant to kind of like try to tie in with that. One, like I said, grudge actions for removing buffs in general, but also we have so much. We're gonna have so many units later on that just are going to do a fat amount of damage at one time that I don't think this is even going to be relevant. To the point where even if you do survive, you're going to be in a bad spot in a PvP scenario. So I don't think that the damage increase for this is that great. The Savage Pursuit effect is pretty nice. You get to go even faster, which I guess is supposed to help your survivability. Like I said, like that plus this, I think is supposed to help you survive a lot more. But if your defense boost isn't there, you're probably going to be having a pretty bad time because you don't have any like actual inherent mitigation. So that kind of sucks. But let's look at the DNA code here. First up, we have Frigid Breath. Immobility caused by the skill 1 cannot be removed in the Whisper of Shield. And right here, immediately, you see why I would prefer if it said most status effects, because this like just reinforces what I was saying earlier. Some things just start to ignore Friend of Shield. Wait, immobility? Wait, that's not what it does though. This inflicts slow, and it has a slow icon as well. So I'm not sure why it says immobility there. This has something. Alright, I'm just going to assume that means slow, because that's a slow icon. The skill inflicts slow, not immobilize. And there was also another skill that had like wording like this as well. It was Swimsuit Furham skill. It said immobilize, but what it actually meant was slow. So I'm going to assume it's a thing like that here, or maybe it's like something that might get like lost in translation or something like that. Flying Swallow dramatically increased the range of Suenbu by 250% and increased the flight speed by 31%, which is very, very good. Having just an increased range is fantastic, especially a range of that magnitude. Even if the range isn't very good on it in general, with this, like, you have a decent range on it. And then it just flies faster as well, so that's always very, very good as well for hitting that. And finally, we have Flamboyant Dancing. Damage bonus from Peak of Fervor is increased by 20%. We hit a target that you locked on, increased damage you by 20%. This one, really, really not feeling. Again, because of the bonus damage, because of Peak of Fervor, I don't really like as a passive. Because you don't have, like I said, you don't have any inherent mitigation, or like any like good mitigation that won't be able to be dispelled. Like, you have the defense buff, sure, which is a fat amount of defense reduction. I'm sorry, damage reduction, but like you don't have like double adaptability, or anything like that that reduces damage by 30% for just kind of existing with said weapon. So I really like this one. The lock damage is pretty nice though. And then for the unique recombined DNA, you have Accelerate Echo, and your accelerate damage, reduce damage you take by 8%. Now this I like. Just because this is like, hey, if this is happening, you can do this. But the downside with this is, again, this is tied to a buff. and have with you having a buff, so it's not always going to be active. But I do think this is okay. Another minus 8% isn't bad, but if we just come up here a little bit, well, maybe you don't have it. Do you not have? Well, you have short range boost, but that's not. Oh, okay, you actually don't have player sentinel. I was gonna say if it has player sentinel, then you just go for that instead. I don't think it has player sentinel on this at all, actually. Okay, well that's. I don't really see like too much mitigation. I see like the amplifications and the adaptabilities, like this, like the crisis adaptability, like that might be okay, but that's just when you're below 30% HP, so you might not even really exist that long on the battlefield, especially in a PvP scenario. Like PvE, that might be helpful, but PvP, I don't think it'll be that great on Festive Zero. On other units, sure, you can get away with it, but I think that's enough there for talking about Festive Zero's kit. Let's take a look at some weapons that will pair well with him. So, as our usual suspects will be here, Festive Zero likes melee weapons, so again, as per usual, Nightmare, fantastic weapon there. Berserker Greatsword is a good option as well. Here, I think Ancient Relic is also a very, very good option. You might be able to abuse this with the Savage Pursuit in order to try to close the distance and just kind of like just do that to like I said, to close this and try to get in damage, or like you can like get away with that. So that's something you can do. Something that's actually pretty interesting as well is is it? Ah, okay, well this is one of them. Twin Fangs has a nice passive you can use here. When you equip two melee weapons at the same time, increase damage you deal and decrease damage. Increase damage you deal by 8%, reduce damage you take by 8%. I think that's a pretty interesting passive right there. That gives you a little bit more inherent defense. And then there is also this here, the Icicle Fang. Here, the Frost Walrus weapon. That's pretty interesting as well for the short range adaptability. When you're in short range, which you will probably be anyway, just because of you want to use melee weapons. Reduce damage taken by 12% by a short range attack. I think this is decent as well. Just for that, there's definitely better options for Zero. Like I definitely think this is better, like Nightmare in general. But that is something you can do if you want to attempt to make a bit of a bulkier build. I don't think it's that great, but that is an option that you can do. And then taking a look at the PvE side of things, Sinister Shadow Saber will be great for anything with boss related, just because of the HP recovery passive skill and the Turf War. So those who are great for bosses. Then the Festive Specialty, as well as this is a weapon that we will get in Global pretty soon, along with the drop of Festive Zero. What this does is you can't, I can't show the passive here because I don't own this on my Taiwan account, but the last passive this weapon can unlock is a healing passive, so that when you defeat enemies, you get healing. It's very similar to the Baton card, which is pretty useful, so I thought I'd include that in here as well for the PvE side of things as well. I do also want to shout out Crimson Scythe as well as a potential PvE option, as it is a melee weapon and it also has a healing passive in here as well. HP Absorb. When you defeat a target, you recover HP equal to 20% of your attack. So I think that is a decent option as well if you have that. And I think, well, really, the Crimson Scythe, I think, was the only real healing melee weapon that we had access to, because prior to the Festive Specialty dropping, we didn't have a another one to do so. I think that's it for the weapons, at least for the melee weapons. I kind of like, as per usual, you can just slot in like maybe like Explosive Blower, Cannon God, things like that. But Festive Zero wants to use a melee weapon, so that's why I recommended the weapons that I did. However, let's move on to cards that might pair well with Festive Zero. Alright, now depending on where you're going to be using Festive Zero, you're going to have like your kind of usual suspects, as I like to call them. I use that phrase a lot when talking about weapons and cards in this game. So, if you're using them in PvP, things that you probably tend to want to use are things like your Akuma for your Master Fist, the Life Aura card from base EXE, the M Bison card because it has Player Killer. It also has Confusion and Resistance as well, which is quite nice. Where's the Life Aura card? Should be, yeah, Life Aura card right here. That's Player Killer 2 right there. The Mac card and the Sigma X4, I believe, also have Player Killer. Yep, that's Player Killer 2. And the Mac card is an A rank card or down here somewhere that I'm trying to hear this. There's Mac for Player Killer as well. And then after that, it's gonna really kind of come down to what other things you want to use with Zero. Now, I had mentioned like I like the defensive options a lot more, but I don't remember if there is a card with double adaptability. But oh, actually, wait a minute. Fugen, yeah, here we go. If you have double melee weapons equipped, you get access to double adaptability and zero distance boost with this. On top of that, the trigger for this is blue, blue, yellow, so you can stack 2 of these and really start mitigating some damage and boosting damage you deal in close proximity. So that's fine. I thought a comment on Elite Hunter as well, even though I had mentioned earlier that you want to use melee weapons with Festive Zero. Maybe you're using him alongside Zero Nightmare in PvP, so you can make use of this card as well if you're going to do that route. And if you're using a Buster and a melee weapon, you'd want to use something like this anyway. The Master Tsushi card is pretty interesting as well because it has Adversity Adaptability, which is when your HP is below 50%, reduce damage taken by 6%. And with this is actually 50% and below. That's when your passive kicks in. So Adversity Adaptability would be pretty good to have as well, just inherently, so that you take a little bit less damage that way. And since this is a green card, it triggers off green, you can stack 2 of these together, so that's pretty nice as well. Alright, I think that about wraps up for Festive Zero. Unfortunately, Festive Zero is one of the units where I don't think it's too great for PvP. There just seem to be a lot of better options over Festive Zero. You can still use them in PvP, but he's one of those units that you're really going to have to work for, I think, if you want to get a lot of results out of him. And just kind of figure out how you're going to want to play him with that. PvE, I think he'll be okay for that. Just because like the defense boost, like your buffs can't get removed during PvE. Friend of Shield is going to be okay. The ammunition expansion and things like that, but I really don't like the Peak of Fervor passive on him. But in PvE, I think it's okay. I think it just, like I said, I think it's just a lot harder to get value out of in PvP with this character. Definitely think it's doable, but I think there's much better options that you could use over him. But if this is a character you like, then feel free to go for it, I guess. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you, humans, so much for watching. I appreciate if you guys would go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel, helps your ghost when you're enjoying content. And I would like to throw a shout out to my patrons and my YouTube channel members. Thank you for helping to support me and continue doing what I do. If you'd like to find out how to support me on either Patreon or as a YouTube channel member, you can find information down below in the description. And I will see you guys next time. Later.